Welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at marriage.
Ooh, exciting.
Well, maybe not exciting, but important. I
Yeah.
mean, we're going to be going deep into the challenges that even the happiest couples face.
I like it.
We're going to be using some research and some expert advice, and our goal today is to help you not just survive those challenges, but actually use them to make your relationships stronger.
You know, I've always thought
Yeah.
that saying what doesn't kill you makes you stronger really applies to marriage.
Yeah, for sure. But hopefully we can skip the whole new debt experience.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so to dig into this, we're going to be taking a look at 5 key areas. These are going to be communication, finances, intimacy, conflict resolution, and balancing responsibilities.
It's funny because those are the things that come up again and again, right?
Yeah, and you know what I think is so interesting about all of this is that they're all like connected.
Oh, yeah.
How we handle our finances can affect our intimacy, and how we
Yeah.
communicate can really determine whether we can resolve conflicts effectively.
How connected. It really is.
Communication is really the foundation of it all.
Yeah, it's like without good communication, you don't have much.
I know it sounds cheesy,
Yeah.
but active listening is so important.
Oh, my gosh. I used to think it was so cheesy, too.
Yeah.
But then I started to think,
Yeah.
when I'm listening to my partner, am I really present or am I just waiting for my turn to talk?
That's a big one.
Yeah, and it turns out
Huge.
it makes a huge difference how you listen.
It does.
Okay, so how do you do that?
But one thing is you have to.
Sometimes it's like we're speaking different languages.
Oh, I know, right? One thing that I read that I think can really help
Yeah?
is to schedule check-in times with your partner.
Really?
I know it sounds a little formal, but
Like a meeting.
yeah, well, I mean, not like a super formal business meeting, but just set aside like 15 minutes each evening to share what's going on in your lives. No distractions, no phones,
Wow.
just you two talking.
You know what? That's a great idea. But what about when things get heated?
Like during an argument,
Of course.
you know, the source material we were reading talked about I statements,
Mhm.
but sometimes those feel so awkward.
I know, but they can really help.
They do.
Yeah, because I statements are not about sounding like a robot. It's about owning your experience.
Oh.
And they help you avoid blaming your partner.
So instead of saying, you always leave your clothes on the floor,
Oh, yeah.
you would say, I feel frustrated when I trip over clothes because it makes me feel like our shared space isn't respected.
Exactly. Like you are not attacking them. You're explaining how you feel.
It seems like that would be a much better approach.
And it can actually de-escalate conflict.
That's amazing.
Yeah. We should move on to finances.
Okay, now that is a fun topic.
Oh, yeah. Everybody loves to talk about money.
Not really, but it's important.
It is. It can really bring out the worst in us sometimes.
Yeah, it's a hot button issue in a lot of marriages.
It is.
I know my partner and I have such different approaches to money.
Oh, really?
Yeah. My partner is a saver and I'm more of a spender, let's enjoy life kind of person.
I hear you.
And that has caused some issues.
Well, I read this thing that was so interesting.
What's
They
the...
call them money scripts. And it's like how we think about money because of how we grew up.
Oh, like if you grew up and money was always tight, then you might be more anxious about spending.
Exactly.
Whoa.
Or if your parents fought about money all the time, you might just think of money as something stressful.
That is so true.
If we could figure out what those money scripts are, then I think it makes it a lot easier to have good conversations about money.
How do we uncover those?
What one suggestion I saw
Yeah.
was to make it fun. Like sit down together, maybe with a glass of wine, and share stories about your earliest memories related to money.
Okay.
What messages did you get from your parents about money?
Oh,
What were their spending habits like?
that's a good idea.
It can really open your eyes.
Yeah, it's like relationship archaeology or something.
Yeah, I like that.
Digging up those artifacts from your past to understand the present.
Yeah, and then once you've kind of dug all that up, then you can start to talk about your goals for the future. Do you want to travel? Do you want to save for a house?
Oh, yeah. And the research also talked about being transparent with finances.
Oh, totally.
Like no more hiding credit card statements or secret purchases.
Yeah, that's right.
When you have transparency, you build trust.
That's right.
And that might involve things like budgeting tools or even having regular money dates.
Ooh, money dates. I like that.
Yeah.
It's so much better than fighting about it at the end of the month.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
You can turn something stressful into something you do together.
It's like when you work together on your finances, it makes you feel closer.
Exactly. When you're on the same page about your goals, it feels like you're building a future together.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of building a future, let's talk about intimacy.
Ooh, another fun one.
Well, it can be, but I have to be honest here. Life gets busy. And sometimes intimacy takes a backseat to work and the kids and just the daily grind.
Yeah.
Is that normal? Or are we failing as a couple?
It is totally normal. Don't
Yeah.
worry. It's incredibly common
Yeah.
for couples to have different levels of intimacy at different times. The key is to recognize it and then be intentional about it.
So it's not all about
Yeah.
those big romantic gestures.
Yeah, they can be nice.
Yeah.
But really, it's the little everyday things that add up.
Okay.
Like a hug when you walk in the door, a quick text, just to say,
Uh-huh.
I'm thinking about you, holding hands while you watch a movie.
I love that. So the little things are really the big things.
Yeah, that's right.
How do you bring back the spark when you feel like it's fading?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, like we're talking about rekindling those early feelings,
Yeah.
but sometimes it feels like we're two ships passing in the night.
Well, remember, you have all of this shared history together. Think about those inside jokes, those special places.
Yep.
You know those songs that take you back to when you first started dating?
That's a good point. Instead of watching TV, we could listen to music.
Exactly. Be intentional about it,
Yeah.
even if it's just for 15 minutes.
And you know what? I just realized this all goes back to communication.
It all does.
If you're not really listening to each other and making each other feel heard, then that intimacy fades.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, let's move on to something a little less fun.
Let's do it.
Conflict resolution.
Here we go.
Yeah, because all couples argue.
Oh, yeah, even the happiest ones.
And sometimes those arguments feel really big.
Like huge.
Yeah, like a hurricane.
Yeah.
So how do we make sure that it's just a little breeze and not a big storm?
Well, the source material talked about approaching disagreements calmly,
Yeah.
but I know it's easier said than done,
Right.
especially if your partner knows how to push your buttons.
Oh, they know.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what do you do?
Well, one thing is you can just take a pause.
Ah.
Yeah. You don't have to like storm out. You can just say, hey, I need a few minutes
Okay.
to cool down.
Okay.
Just go for a walk or listen to some music
Like press pause.
on the argument.
Yeah, you're not avoiding the issue.
Okay.
You're just taking a second to gather your thoughts.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What about when you have the same fight over and over?
Oh, yeah. It's like you're both reading from the same script
Yeah.
and neither one of you knows how to stop.
That's it.
I think a good way to approach that is to try and figure out what your real need is.
Okay, can you give me an example?
Yeah.
Because sometimes it feels like the argument is just about like whose turn it is to do the dishes.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
So let's say you're arguing about chores.
Okay.
Maybe one of you is feeling overwhelmed and the other one is feeling resentful.
Wow.
So the dishes are just the thing on the surface.
It's just a symptom.
Exactly.
Something deeper.
Yeah. And once you can figure that out,
Okay.
then you can have a better conversation about it.
It's about feeling respected
Yes.
in the relationship. Yeah. And that brings us to our last topic,
Okay.
balancing responsibilities.
Ooh, that's a big one,
It is.
especially when you have kids.
Yeah. And it can lead to a lot of resentment.
Totally.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, when you first get married,
Yeah.
you think it's all going to be split evenly and fairly,
Right.
and then life gets in the way,
That's right.
and it's not that simple.
And a lot of couples make this mistake.
What's that?
They think fair means exactly equal,
Okay.
but it doesn't.
So it's not about splitting every chore right down the middle.
Not necessarily. It's more about what each of your strengths are
Okay.
and what you like to do.
Oh, so one person might be better at the finances while the other one's a better cook.
Exactly.
Okay, so how do we figure out a fair division of labor?
You know, the research had a good suggestion.
What's that?
It said to make a list
Ooh,
of all the tasks that need to be done.
that seems kind of overwhelming.
Yeah, well, you don't have to do it all at once. Just start with the things that are causing the most stress.
Okay.
And then instead of deciding who does what, just talk about what you like to do.
So I hate folding laundry, but I'm happy to do the grocery shopping.
Exactly.
And then you figure out a system that works.
Yeah, that feels balanced and that you can both live with.
And this isn't a one-time conversation, right?
Yeah, things change.
Yeah.
Jobs change. Health changes. Family changes.
So you just have to be willing to be flexible and adapt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know what? That applies to everything we talked about today.
It does.
Because marriage is dynamic.
Yeah.
It's constantly evolving.
I like that we're constantly learning and evolving.
That's right.
Both as individuals and as a couple.
Exactly. And sometimes it feels a little messy and uncomfortable,
Yeah.
but it's also a chance to grow closer and build a relationship that can handle anything.
I like that. Okay, so we've covered a lot in this first part.
We have.
We've explored communication, finances, intimacy, conflict resolution, and balancing responsibilities.
That's a lot.
But it's just the beginning.
I know.
We're going to be back in a minute to go even deeper into all of this.
Sounds good. I'm ready.
Stay tuned.
Welcome back. You know, as we were talking about all these different challenges in marriage,
Yeah.
I was thinking about how important it is to remember that,
Yeah.
every couple is unique.
Oh, totally.
There's no one-size-fits-all solution.
That's so true. What works for one couple might be a disaster for another.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's why it's so important to be curious and compassionate.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
With each other and with yourself.
It's like our new mantra, curious and compassionate.
I love it.
But, okay, so let's go back to communication for a minute.
Okay.
We talked about active listening
Yeah.
and using I statements.
Hmm.
What about when you just can't get through to your partner?
Oh, yeah.
Like you're saying all the right things,
Yeah.
but it's like they're speaking a totally different language.
Classic communication breakdown.
It's so frustrating. It's like you're talking to a wall. What's going on there? Is it just like the whole men are from Mars, women are from Venus thing?
There is some truth to that. Men and women are socialized to communicate in different ways.
Right.
But there's also just so many things that can affect communication, like your personality, your past experiences,
Wow.
even how you're feeling that day.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
So how do you navigate all of that and actually connect with your partner?
Well, I think the best thing you can do is just try to remember that your partner's experience might be totally different from yours.
Okay.
So instead of thinking they're trying to be difficult or that they're doing it on purpose,
Yeah.
just try to be curious.
Okay.
Like ask them questions.
Okay.
Help me understand why you feel this way.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what if you've tried everything and you're still hitting a wall?
Yeah.
Is it ever a good idea to go to couples counseling?
Absolutely. Sometimes everybody needs a little extra help.
Yeah, that makes sense.
A good therapist can give you a safe place to work through things.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's shift gears again back to finances.
Oh, boy.
I know, right?
Here we go.
Well, we talked about those money scripts.
Yeah.
Like how we view money based on our upbringing.
Right.
What happens when your money scripts clash with your partner's?
Oh, yeah, that can be bad news.
Right. Like what if one person is super frugal and the other person is more of a free spirit?
Right. Well, just talking about it can really help.
Oh.
Remember, a lot of this is happening in our subconscious.
Oh, okay.
So if we could just drag it out into the open, then that's a really good first step.
So instead of judging your partner, you try to understand where they're coming from.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
But what about practical things?
Like what?
Like budgeting and bill paying?
Oh, yeah.
Like who should be in charge of that? Should we have separate accounts or joint accounts?
Honestly, there's no right or wrong answer.
Really?
It depends on you and your partner and what works for you.
Okay.
Some couples like having separate accounts,
Okay.
and some couples want to share everything.
So again, it's about finding that balance.
Yeah, and what feels good for both of you.
And remembering that things can change over time.
Yes, you have to be flexible.
Okay, speaking of evolving needs, let's go back to intimacy.
Okay.
We talked about the importance of those small everyday things.
Yeah.
But how do you keep things fresh and exciting long term?
Well, that's the million-dollar question.
Right. Like, is it even possible to keep that initial spark after you've been together for years?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, tell me the secrets.
I don't know if there's secrets, but
Yeah.
you have to make an effort.
Okay.
It takes intention.
Okay, what kind of effort are we talking about?
Well, one thing is to try new things together.
Okay.
Like try to bring back that sense of playfulness.
So not the same old date night every week.
Exactly. You got to shake it up.
Okay, I like it. Like what? Give me some examples.
Okay, how about you take a dance class together?
Okay.
Or go on a weekend getaway? Or try a new hobby?
I like it.
Anything that brings you joy
Yeah.
and reminds you why you got together in the first place?
And you know what I think is so important to remember is that
What's that?
intimacy is not just physical.
That's so true.
It's emotional and intellectual, too.
Yeah, you have to connect on all those levels.
Yeah, when you can really talk to your partner and share your thoughts and dreams,
Yeah.
that's intimacy.
That's intimacy.
Okay, let's talk about conflict one more time.
Right.
We talked about the power of the pause
Yes.
and identifying those underlying needs.
Yeah.
But what happens after the argument is over?
Oh, yeah.
How do you actually repair the relationship and move forward?
That is so important.
Because sometimes even after the fight's over,
Yeah.
there's still that tension.
Yeah, those feelings don't just disappear.
No.
You have to really make amends.
So how do you do that?
Well, apologies can help,
Yeah.
but they have to be sincere
Okay.
and specific.
So not just, I'm sorry?
Right. Like, tell them what you're sorry for
Okay.
and how it made them feel.
Okay, so instead of just saying, I'm sorry, I would say, I'm sorry for raising my voice and making you feel disrespected.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to do more than just say sorry.
Like what?
You might need to actually do something.
Okay.
Like give them a hug, do something nice for them, spend some quality time with them.
It's about really showing that you care.
Exactly. And sometimes the best thing you can do is just listen to them.
Yeah, just let them know that you understand how they're feeling.
Exactly.
Okay, and speaking of feeling heard and understood,
Yeah.
let's go back to balancing responsibilities.
Okay, one last time.
One last time.
For this part, at least.
Right.
Yeah.
I think this is one of those areas where it's really easy to get stuck
Oh, yeah.
in a cycle of blame and resentment.
Right. One person's nagging, the other person's feeling criticized.
Yes, exactly.
It's a bad combination.
It is.
And you know what? It often comes from just not talking to each other.
Oh, so like you just expect your partner to know what you need?
Yeah. And then you get mad when they don't do it.
That is so true.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you break out of that?
Be direct.
Okay.
Tell them what you need.
Okay.
So instead of just hoping they'll do the dishes, you say, hey, I'm feeling overwhelmed. Would you mind doing the dishes tonight?
Don't be passive aggressive.
Exactly.
Just say what you need
That's right.
and then be willing to compromise.
Yeah. Maybe you can't split everything exactly in half,
Yeah.
but you can find a way to make it work for both of you.
And you know what I just realized?
Right.
This applies to everything we talked about.
It does.
It's all about communication.
It is?
Finances, intimacy, conflict resolution,
Yeah.
balancing responsibilities.
Yeah. Communication is the key.
Okay, so we've covered even more ground in the second part.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. We've gone deeper into communication, finances, intimacy, conflict resolution, and balancing responsibilities.
We have.
But wait, there's more.
Oh, my goodness.
We'll be right back to wrap up this deep dive and leave you with some final thoughts and inspiration.
I can't wait.
Welcome back to the show. It's amazing how much we've talked about today.
I know, right?
You know all this stuff about marriage.
Yeah.
I feel like we've really gotten past those like surface level tips
Totally.
and gotten into the nitty gritty
Yeah.
of what makes a relationship work.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people think that marriage is just supposed to be easy.
Oh yeah, like if you find the right person,
Yeah.
it's just going to be smooth sailing.
Yeah. And that's just not true.
No,
Even the best relationships take work.
it's more than just work though, right? It's
Yeah.
about being intentional.
Yes.
It's about making the choice to invest in your relationship every single day.
I like that.
Mm.
It's about making those choices even when you don't feel like it.
Exactly. Even when you're tired.
Yes.
Even when you're stressed.
Yeah.
So it's not about waiting for those like magical moments to just happen.
Yeah.
It's about creating them.
Yeah. That's right. Even if you have to schedule it in.
Okay, so one thing that I think is so important
Right.
is for couples to have a shared vision for their future.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, like where do you see yourselves in 5 years?
Mhm.
In 10 years?
Yeah. What are your goals?
What are your dreams as a couple?
I love that.
Yeah.
Because then you have something to work towards together.
Yeah, and even when those day-to-day challenges pop up,
Yeah.
you've got that bigger picture in mind.
Exactly. It's like you have a compass
Yeah.
that can guide you through the tough times.
I like that. Okay, so we've talked about communication, finances, intimacy, conflict resolution, and balancing responsibilities.
Well, it's a lot.
If you had to pick one key takeaway
Oh, that's tough.
for our listeners,
Yeah.
what would it be?
If I had to boil it all down to one thing,
Yeah.
I would say it's to never stop learning and growing,
Oh,
both individually
yeah.
and as a couple.
I love that. Because it's not like you just get married
Yeah.
and then you figured it all out. It's a process.
It's a journey.
Yeah.
It's a lifelong journey.
And sometimes that journey takes you to some unexpected places.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like it's not always fun,
No.
not always easy.
Yeah.
But if you can approach those challenges with
Yeah.
curiosity and a willingness to learn from them,
Yeah.
then you can come out stronger.
Exactly.
So it's not about avoiding conflict
No.
or pretending that everything's perfect.
Right.
It's about knowing how to deal with those tough times.
That's right. You have to have the right tools.
Yeah, like you're building a relationship toolbox.
Yeah, I love that.
With all these different strategies.
Yeah.
So what are some of those tools?
Well, I think it's different for every couple.
Okay.
But maybe you have a list of questions you can ask each other
Oh, yeah.
when you want to have a deeper conversation.
Yeah, to reconnect.
Or maybe you have a budget spreadsheet
Okay.
that you look at together every month.
Okay. Or maybe you just have a reminder on your phone to text your partner and tell them you love them.
Oh, I love that.
Just little things like that.
Yeah, little things make a big difference.
And remember, you don't have to come up with all this stuff on your own.
Oh, no, there's tons of help out there.
Yeah, there's books,
Books, articles, workshops.
podcasts,
Yeah.
therapists.
Therapists, yes.
So many resources.
Yeah, if you're struggling, don't be afraid to ask for help.
It's not a sign of weakness.
No, it's a sign of strength.
Exactly. Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, I just want to say this
Yeah,
marriage, it's a journey.
it is.
It's not a destination.
That's right.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
It's messy.
Yes.
It's constantly evolving.
Yes.
Embrace all of it.
Yeah.
The ups and the downs,
Mhm.
celebrate the good times,
Yeah.
learn from the challenges,
Yeah.
and never stop making your relationship a priority.
Well said.
It's been so great talking to you today.
It has.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us
Yes, thank you.
on this deep dive into the world of marriage. Yeah.
We hope you learned something
We hope you enjoyed it.
and that you're feeling inspired
Yes.
to make your relationship even
Yeah.
better.
Absolutely.
We'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.